Magandang araw mga ka-Pinoy. Ang topic po natin ngayong araw na ito ay all about consular services. Pag sinabi po natin consular services, ibig po sabihin mga serbisyo na pinoprovide ng mga Philippine Embassies or ng Philippine Consulate Generals sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Mula sa pagproseso or pag-issue ng passport, ng visa, ng travel document, maging sa pagre-report ng birth, kasal, or ng kamatayan. Kasama na rin po dito yung mga serbisyo na coordinated sa mga attached agencies. Sa video na ito, hindi natin masyado madidiscuss lahat ng requirements, pero makikita o mababasa ninyo kung ano-ano yung mga kailangan natin dapat i-accomplish kung may transaction tayo sa Philippine Embassy or sa Philippine Consulate General. Mga ka-Pinoy, samahan ninyo ako at ating alamin. Civil registration. Kasama po dito yung report of birth, report of marriage, and report of death. Report of birth.
The birth of a Filipino should be reported to and registered with the Philippine Statistics Authority through the Embassy or Consulate General having jurisdiction over the locality where the event took place.
Ibig pong sabihin, kung ang batang Pilipino ay ipinanganak abroad, dapat po i-report ang kanyang kapanganakan sa Philippine Embassy or sa Philippine Consulate General na may jurisdiction sa lugar kung saan siya ipinanganak. Mga requirements:
Four original copies of the duly accomplished report of birth forms. Forms should be completely filled out in black ink, signed, and notarized. Original or certified true copy of the birth certificate, and 4 photocopies. Original copy of the parent's Philippine Statistics Authority marriage certificate or approved report of marriage, and 4 photocopies. Note: if married abroad and the same has not yet been reported, a report of marriage application should be filed simultaneously with the report of birth. If parents were not married at the time of child's birth and mother had no prior subsisting marriage, number 1. Affidavit of admission of paternity executed by the father if the father is willing to acknowledge paternity. Affidavit to use the surname of the father executed by the mother if the child is below 7 years old. Executed by the child and attested by the mother if the child is between 7 and 17 years old. Executed by the child if the child is 18 years old and above. Both affidavits have to be executed in 4 original copies before a notary public and duly apostillized or authenticated by the appropriate competent authority. Notarized copy of both parents' passport data page, and 3 photocopies. Notarized copy of proof that the parents was or were Filipinos at the time of child's birth. Example: green card, U.S. visa, U.S. naturalization certificate, notice of action, work permit, and dual IC. And 3 photocopies. If the parents are former Filipinos, please also submit a notarized copy of the foreign naturalization certificate and 3 photocopies. If the child was included in a parent's approved petition for retention, reacquisition of Philippine citizenship, 3 photocopies of the child's dual citizenship identification certificate or order of approval, petition for reacquisition of Philippine citizenship, indicating the name of the child as a minor beneficiary of the parent's reacquisition of Philippine citizenship. Notarized affidavit explaining the delayed registration if report of birth is filed more than a year after the child was born, and 3 photocopies. Processing fees, non-refundable, $25 for report of birth, $25 for certificate of registration of legal instrument for those executing AAP and or AUSF, payable in cash or money order made payable to Embassy of the Philippines.
Report of marriage.
The marriage of a Filipino should be reported to and registered with the Philippine Statistics Authority through the Embassy or Consulate General having jurisdiction over the locality where the event took place.
Mga requirements.
Covering letter, handwritten or typed, addressed to the consular section, indicating the specific service or transaction requested. It is important to provide a telephone number and or email address in case consular staff needs to contact the applicant. 4 original copies of the duly accomplished report of marriage contracted abroad form, typed or printed legibly in black ink and signed by both husband and wife. Original or certified true copy of the marriage certificate and 4 photocopies. Original or notarized copy of proof that the spouse were Filipinos at the time of marriage. If the spouse is a former Filipino, please submit a notarized copy of the foreign naturalization certificate and 3 photocopies. Notarized copy of both spouses' passport data page and 3 photocopies. Original copy of the Philippine Statistics Authority birth certificate of the Filipino spouse and 4 photocopies. Notarized affidavit explaining the reasons for delayed registration if report of marriage is filed more than a year after marriage and 3 photocopies. Self-addressed USPS Priority Mail Flat Rate or Priority Express Return Envelope with stamp and tracking number. Processing fee of $25, payable in cash or money order made payable to Embassy of the Philippines. Personal checks and credit cards are not accepted.
Report of debt. The debt of a Filipino should be reported to and registered with the Philippine Statistics Authority through the embassy or consulate having jurisdiction over the locality where the debt or event took place. So, ibig sabihin, kung ang Pilipino ay taga Singapore and doon nangyari yung pagkamatay niya, so dapat i-report natin sa Philippine Embassy sa Singapore. Mortuary certificates are issued when remains or the cremated remains of a deceased, whether Filipino or foreigner, are to be transported to the Philippines. Para sa mga requirements, 5 original copies of the duly accomplished report of death application form. Yung report of death, kailangan lang kung ang namatay ay Filipino citizen. Kailangan po notarize yung application form. Gaya po ng report of marriage, report of birth, yung report of death, pino-forward siya sa Philippine Statistics Authority upang sa ganon magkaroon ng record or maitala yung record ng report of death sa Philippine Statistics Authority. For human remains, original copy of the notarized certificate issued by the mortuary director that the body was properly embalmed and the casket contains only the body of the deceased, and 7 photocopies. For the cremated remains, original copy of the certificate of cremation issued by the crematory and 7 photocopies. Para po sa human remains, original copy of the certificate of no contagious disease issued by the State Department of Health kung sa US and 7 photocopies. Tignan po natin kung nasang bansa po tayo, i-check natin kung sino yung concerned agency na nag-i-issue po na nasabing certificate. Original copy of the burial transit permit from the State Department of Health and 7 photocopies. Seven copies of the itinerary of the human remains or the person carrying the cremated remains to include full flight details and mode of transportation. So dapat isubmit po ito 7 days before the scheduled flight. Name, address, and contact number of receiving funeral company in the Philippines. Dapat po coordinated ng next of kin sa Philippines at sa bansa kung saan manggagaling yung remains. Seven photocopies of the deceased identification card or passport, as well as a notarized copy of proof that the deceased was Filipino at the time of death. Halimbawa po, green card, US visa, US naturalization certificate, notice of action, work permit, or dual IC. Seven photocopies of the identification documents of the person we will travel with the urn containing the cremated remains. Ito po ay para lamang sa cremated remains na itatransport sa Philippines. Self-addressed return envelope. Mahalaga po na may stamp and tracking number. Yung tracking number sobrang napakahalaga para at least monitor natin kung nasaan na yung ating document. Processing fee in the amount of $50 kung Filipino, $25 kung US citizen. Dapat po payable in cash or money order made payable to the Embassy of the Philippines. Para dun naman po sa mga wala sa US, i-check po natin yung website ng embassy na nakakasakop sa atin. Deceased is no longer a Filipino citizen, omit the report of death. Only 3 photocopies of all submitted documents will be required. Kasi po, hindi naman natin kailangan i-report o magkaroon ng record ng isang foreigner sa Philippine Statistics Authority. Ngayon po, punta tayo sa dual citizenship. Republic Act 9225, otherwise known as the Citizenship Retention and Reacquisition Act of 2003. Siya po yung batas na nag-govern para sa dual citizenship. Para po sa mga former national-born Filipinos, maaari po natin i-file ang ating application for dual citizenship sa embassy kung nasa labas tayo ng Pilipinas or kung nasa Philippines naman tayo sa Bureau of Immigration. Under the principle of derivative citizenship, unmarried children below 18 years of age, whether legitimate, illegitimate, or adopted, of former Filipino parents who retain or acquired the Philippine citizenship under this law may also be deemed Filipino citizens if they are included in the application of natural citizenship. May tinatawag din po tayo na dual by birth. Ibig sabihin, kung ang bata ay pinanganak after January 17, 1973, ipinanganak outside the Philippines, at isa sa kanyang mga magulang ay Pilipino pa, ang kailangan gawin ay i-report ang birth. Hindi kakailanganin ng bata na mag-apply for dual citizenship. Kasi nga po, ipinanganak siya na isa sa kanyang mga magulang ay Pilipino. This is after January 17, 1973. Mga requirements. A cover letter. So dapat po naka-indicate doon yung valid email at mobile phone number. Upang sa ganon, madaling matawagan ng embassy yung aplikante kung may mga katanungan pa or may iba pang supporting documents na hingiin ang embassy. Original and 1 copy of duly accomplished dual citizenship application form. Original and copy of PSA birth certificate. Copies of Philippine and foreign passports, data pages. Photocopy of marriage certificate if kasal na, decree of divorce if divorce, death certificate if patay na yung spouse. Photocopy of foreign naturalization certificate. For minor derivative po, para po sa photos, dapat 4 pieces, colored, 2x2, and with white background. Processing fee po ay $50 para sa principal at $25 para sa derivative. Legalization. Para po sa legalization, meron na po tayong tinatawag na Apostille Convention, entered into force in the Philippines on 14 May 2019. Para po sa mga documents executed and apostillized in apostille countries, hindi na kakailanganin na dumampas sa mga embassy or sa consulate. Pero tignan po natin mabuti kung ang mga bansa kung nasan tayo ay member ng Apostille Convention. Otherwise, kailangan pa rin na dumaan sa embassy or sa consulate para sa authentication. Ano ba ang apostille? Ang apostille ay ang certificate na ino-authenticate niya yung origin of a public document to which it relates. Ibig sabihin, sinicertify niya na authentic yung document, yung signature, yung seal ng tao o ng authority na nagpirma or nag-seal doon sa public document. An apostille does not certify the content of the public document to which it relates. It is issued by a country that is party to the Apostille Convention to be used in another country that is also a party to the convention. Foreign documents from the US and other apostille countries will only need apostillization by the host government for them to be validly used and accepted in the Philippines. Philippine embassies, consulates shall no longer authenticate documents originating from the US and other apostille countries. Foreign apostilles issued before May 14, 2019 shall be recognized in the Philippines on and from said date of entry into force of the Convention for the Philippines. Embassies and consulates are not authorized to issue an apostille. However, Philippine embassies and consulates shall continue to provide acknowledgement and jurat services to walk-in applicants. Pero ngayon po, dahil po sa pandemic, i-check po natin mga website kung ano po ngayon yung policies ng mga embassies and consulates. Passport. Para po sa passport, the Philippines has instituted the electronic passport Ibig sabihin, e-passport system na ang gamit sa Philippines. The e-passport features microchip technology and a host of other security features, thereby ensuring that Philippine passports are virtually tamper-proof. Ibig sabihin po, mas madali natin ma-identify o ma-determine kung ang passport ay peke. E-passport issuance is also compliant with the security standards set by the International Civil Aviation Organization. The Philippine e-passport has an integrated circuit chip within its pages containing data that are essential in verifying the identity of the passport holder. Napapaloob po doon yung personal biographical information na matatagpuan sa data page ng passport, biometrics ng passport holder, unique identification number, digital signature. So lahat po yon, lahat ng ginawa natin nung nag-apply tayo ng passport, yung fingerprints natin, yung signature, madaling makita or mabiverify agad ng immigration officer ng bansa kung saan man tayo dadaan. The Embassy or Consulate General receives and processes applications for e-passports, which in turn is sent to the Department of Foreign Affairs in Manila for printing and issuance. So, umaabot siya ng 4 to 6 weeks bago matapos yung buong process ng passport application. The Embassy or Consulate General advises all Philippine passport holders whose passports are expiring within the next 6 months to renew their passports if they intend to travel within the aforementioned period. Para po sa mga kukuha ng passport, hindi na po kailangan na magdala ng photographs as their feature. Kasi nga po, e-passport na tayo. So, yung pagkuha ng picture, doon na po mismo sa embassy or sa consulate. Kasama ng pagkuha ng fingerprints and ng signature. Tandaan din po natin na dapat sundin natin yung dress codes. So kung nandun na tayo mismo sa embassy or consulate, kapag magpapapicture na tayo, bawal po ang hikaw, kwintas, so bawal din po ang sleeveless, and dapat po pag kukunan na tayo ng picture, pwede naka-smile pero bawal nakalabas yung ngipin. Kasi iniingatan natin na wag na magkaroon ng problema yung application natin at makasunod tayo sa mga bansa na talaga mahigpit pagdating sa dress codes. Tandaan din natin na only immediate family members are allowed to claim the passport in behalf of the applicant. Immediate family members include father, mother, brother, sister, spouse, and children of legal age. So hindi natin basta-basta pwede ipakuha sa ibang tao yung passport natin kung hindi natin makukuha or makiklaim. Pero sa ngayon po, dahil nga po sa pandemic, right now, lahat via mail po. Passports and claim after 1 year will be canceled per department order. So, ibig sabihin kapag hindi natin nakuha yung passport natin after 1 year, ika-cancel na yon ng DFA. Pero sa ngayon, gaya ng sabi ko po, dahil pandemic, lahat via mail na. Para po sa requirements, personal appearance. So, ibig sabihin po, kailangan natin na pumunta sa embassy or sa consular office. Duly accomplished, new regular passport application form kung first timer. Kung renewal, may renewal form. Kung minor, minor na application form. Original and photocopy of Philippine Statistics Authority birth certificate. Ayan po, lalo na sa mga first timer applicant. For married female, dapat original and photocopy of PSA marriage certificate. Original and photocopy of additional proof that the applicant is still a Filipino. Self-address return envelope. Processing fee of $60. Additional requirements for dual citizen, original and 2 photocopies of identification certificate issued by the Philippine Foreign Service Post or the Bureau of Immigration. Mga ka-Pinoy, dapat pumunta po tayo na kumpleto ang ating requirements sa embassy or sa consular office para hindi masayang ang pagpunta natin. Passport validity extension. Philippine passport holders who have an emergency travel or have urgent cases requiring them to possess a valid passport, and even those who do not fall under these categories but their passport are expiring within 1 year from today, may apply for extension of validity of passport. So the validity is only up to 1 year. Para po sa procedures and documentary requirements, maaari po natin tawagan yung embassy or consulate na may jurisdiction sa lugar kung nasaan po tayo. Ngayon po punta tayo sa travel document. A travel document is a certification or identifying document containing the description and other personal circumstances of the bearer, which is issued in lieu of a passport and valid for one way. Ibig sabihin, magagamit lang siya pauwi ng Pilipinas. So kung nagpaplano tayo na bumalik sa bansa kung saan tayo nanggaling, so sa Pilipinas, kailangan na natin magpagawa or mag-renew ng bagong Philippine passport. Otherwise, hindi tayo makakabalik sa bansa kung saan tayo nanggaling kasi nga po, yung travel document, magagamit lang siya one way, pauwi lang ng Pilipinas. So, ang travel document ay ini-issue lamang sa Filipino citizen. Hindi po pwedeng ma-issue yan sa foreigner or sa mga dating Pilipino. Mga requirements. Duly accomplished travel document application form. Must be notarized, especially kung ito ay via mail. Any document stating proof of urgency. So mga document na nagpapatunay na may urgency or emergency sa Pilipinas. For pieces ng 2x2 colored photos taken within 6 months showing a clear front view of applicant's face with a white background. original and or photocopy of expired passport. In case of lost passport, affidavit of loss and Philippine Statistics Authority birth certificate. Marriage certificate if married. Original and one photocopy of proof that the applicant is still a Filipino like green card, US visa, notice of action, at iba pa po. Then self-address, return envelope. And then po, processing fee, $30. Mga ka-Pinoy, tandaan po natin na ang validity ng travel document ay 1 month lamang. So, dapat within 1 month magamit natin travel document. Otherwise, expired na yan, hindi na natin magagamit. Para po sa visa, mga ka-Pinoy, hindi ko na babasahin or i-discuss yung lahat ng klase ng visa at yung mga requirements. Ang gagawin po natin, gagawa tayo ng panibagong video. Doon i-discuss natin yung bawat klase ng visa at requirements para mas detalyado. Yung sa retirees visa din, separately i-discuss natin considering na hindi siya under ng Philippine Embassies or ng Consulate or even ng Bureau of Immigration. So dito, mababasa natin yung non-immigrant and immigrant visas. (9A) visa or temporary visitors visa. Included po dito yung tourist and business. Mga requirements. 9B visa or transit visa. Mga requirements. Nine C visa para po sa seaman. Mga requirements. Nine D visa or TT traders visa. For inquiries regarding the 9D TT traders visa type, applicants may call the embassy or the concerned embassy or consulate general. Nine E visa, visa for foreign government officials. Mga requirements. Special Resident Retirees Visa or SRRV. SRRV visa shall be applied at the Philippine Retirement Authority. Immigrant Visa. (13A) Visa. Requirements. (13G) Visa. Mga requirements. mga ilan sa attached agencies. Philippine Overseas Labor Office. So, Philippine Overseas Labor Office, sila po yung responsible kapag ang concern ng mga overseas Filipinos ay related sa labor or sa employment. Philippine Veterans Affairs Office. For veterans and survivor benefits, you can contact the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office for assistance and guidance. For other services po, sa mga ka-Pinoy, dito po nagkukukas ang ating video. Sana po i-like, share, and subscribe ninyo po ang KaPinoy ating alamin. Para po sa mga questions at comments, isulat nyo lang po below. Muli, maraming salamat po.